Okay.
I'm getting a message.
You're getting a message. What does it say?
This studio has local recordings enabled, but they are not supported by iOS. I'm on Apple.
Oh, yeah. So that just means that I also wanted to save a copy to my hard drive, and it, in case you want to use the content too, it might save it to your hard drive. But if your system not letting you do it, then that's all it means.
Gotcha. I don't know why, but okay.
If you need
I'm
it,
gonna
just let.
stream it.
What's that?
I'm gonna stream it. Do I have an echo?
Say something again.
Do I have an echo?
Okay, no, you good.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Okay. So guys, it's what? It's about 6:40 Central Time. It's Friday night. It's VJ. I'm talking to LaSha Marie. Y'all, I'm so happy because I feel like we really just at happy hour or something, right? How are you doing, LaSha?
I am doing great. I'm glad it's Friday. This week it was so funny because I did a recording earlier, and I was like, okay, I'm so geeked. It's Friday, y'all. It's Friday. I don't know why I'm happy. I got my coffee in my hand. Like this morning, I was doing the video. Like I don't know why I'm happy. Those of you that has to work tomorrow, y'all probably got a side eye to me, but you it's okay. You love me
It's
anyway.
okay.
I love you anyway.
It's all good. I have had an incredibly long week. Like, what's your week look like? Because mine's it hasn't been like hard. It's just been like just kind of draining, maybe emotionally a little bit. So I was like, I'm looking forward to Friday.
It has it was quick. It was quick, but it was good. It was productive. So I can't complain. I wasn't drained. And that's probably why I'm like, oh, turn up. It's the weekend.
So you're gonna be up all night punching out content then. That's what I'm hearing.
No,
right?
no.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
absolutely negatory. I did that Monday through Thursday. Tonight
You did that Monday through Thursday. You taking your because this is so embarrassing. But you know what I want to do this weekend? I want to stay and watch crime shows. I want to watch like the original Forensic Files. That's what I want to do this weekend.
Really? Okay, so I love Law and Order.
Okay.
I love First 48.
Yes.
So yeah. So anything that's kind of like, yeah, I just love those. I also love like Intervention. I know it's so sad. But
yeah, no, I like Intervention too. I'm always just boo-hooing by the end of it,
but yes, lately I have been I'm doing content for I'm debuting my new show only on YouTube, Rag Talk Nation, which is a pop culture TV movie review and all things lifestyle kind of style show. So I've been doing content for that and building the content for my girl that's gonna come on and do our first episode. Miss Coley Max is going to join me to do that. So we're actually going to be talking about Snoop Dogg's new movie on Prime.
Really? Oh, can you send me the link?
Name right now.
No, I was just gonna say send me the link so I can be in the comments and all that. Yeah. When you have it ready.
Yes. And it's something like it's a catchy name, but whoo, child, I'm so bad at names.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I saw that too, and I just you know what? It'll come to us probably when we're watching the first 48, right?
Right.
Boom, it's gonna pop in our head.
Right. I sent it, and that was actually a good movie. So I can't wait to kind of have that talk and discussion. So, yeah.
Well, I hope that the weekend is full of
underdogs.
Rest.
I was gonna find that title, underdog.
Look, you wasn't gonna be able to move on until you got that title. Look, I'm the same way. I get it. Okay, look, y'all. So myself and LaSha, we here tonight because we just want to have a girl talk, a conversation. We want to hopefully touch some of y'all out there because, you know, I think it's important to have a conversation about maintaining your identity and not losing yourself in your marriage. Like, you know, and I don't even want to say just your marriage, you know, like with your kids and, you know, if you've got kids and stuff. So I think a lot of people, and I'm not gonna say a lot of people, I sometimes hear people saying, oh no, but once you're married, you know, you are one. But I think it's kind of important to still have you, like, right?
Oh,
What's your
most
thoughts?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, but before I share these real live and raw and very real thoughts, let me tell people exactly who I am before I start getting up in their business.
I know. Look, I just jumped right
You
in.
know,
My fault. No.
no.
You know what? You don't introduce you. Let me introduce you. Let me do the honors, please, because
Okay.
I got started too early.
These people business.
She's like, I'm glad you keep me on track. Guys, thank you for tuning in today. Of course, I'm VJ Thomas. Aside from all that, we have LaSha Marie here. Like, she's so amazing. I couldn't wait to just jump right in and start talking to her. But LaSha is an author, a speaker, a writing coach, and she's the host of her very own podcast, Hello Audacity. LaSha, thank you for joining us. Like, you go in and tell the people about you a little bit as well.
Just, it's all of those things. LaSha Marie,
All of and more. Yes.
Right. Originally from Detroit, now in Alabama, and some of everywhere else, honey. I love to collaborate and partner with different organizations out there. However I can use my talent is that's where God sends me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an author, a two-time best-selling author.
Two-time best-selling.
Yes, a career and a writing coach. You need to share your story. Come on and connect with me. And the creator of a wonderful product. A lot of people are doing vision boards. It's the beginning of the year. It's like, oh, fix my life. How can I do that? So I have a product. It's the Dream Big Vision Pillow. It is the newest concept of vision boards. Everything that you put on a vision board, you'll actually put on your Dream Big pillow. And so I created this wonderful product. God gave me the roadmap for this. It's the body, the mind, and the soul. Together is how we achieve our life planning. And so we can, check off those goals. So it's not just a cute pillow. I don't just, have these classes so you can put something cute on something. We actually have a course, and I give you, different measurements for you to incorporate in your life, so those can become tangible. I always say, this is my tangible accountability partner. If I have a speaking engagement, I bring this. If I'm worried about something, if I have a mammogram, I bring this. Obviously, I have everything from scriptures to what I want in my life, every aspect. And I also do this for couples as well. Couples need to be creating goals too, together. You should have your individual goals, and as a couple, you guys need to be saying, okay, what does our 3-year plan look like? What are we going to do this year? And so, yes, I love that product. So, yes.
No, I love it. I love it. So the course teaches you how to make it yourself.
Yes, it's individualized. Of course.
Okay.
I give you a roadmap, which is, different titles, so it might be a home. What does that home look like for you? It could be health. What does that health look like for you? And then, what I do is I get in front of a group of individuals. What I need is your open mind and you to have a computer in front of you.
Oh, okay.
And my class, the class that I have going on right now, I think the next one is next Saturday. What I do is I give you the roadmap, and then it's free. The class is free, so that you walk away with at least a digital product. That's the least I can do for you. But you also have the ability to purchase the pillow. So what you do in class just comes over to me, and what I do is I actually do the graphics for it, send it to print, and you receive your pillow. And you should be updating your life mapping plan, whatever that looks like, because I have to update mine. Like
Yes.
I've checked off this. I'm no longer in this, longer interested in this.
Yeah.
My life has changed, so my dream has gotten bigger. So yes, you need to be updating what your goals are. Check them off. You know, and if you haven't checked it off, what am I doing in my life that's keeping me from checking this off?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Like
yes.
what's the holdup? What's the barrier? Mm-hmm.
Exactly, exactly. But I'm glad to be here. So we're
No, and
gonna
I
have,
love it.
a good
And we're gonna make
tonight.
sure to drop the link for the class, so people can sign up. I know you
Yes,
said you've got one Saturday, but I'm sure there'll be another one, for people
it
who,
is.
yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I have
awesome.
two this
Okay.
month, and I'm always adding. And if it doesn't fit, and you really are serious about, achieving some goals, changing your life because you tired of being stuck, connect with me, and we can
Yes.
do a one-on-one if that's
Oh,
the
I
case.
love it. I love it. I love like group settings, but I love those one-on-ones too. So I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
bomb that you offer that. So yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Right.
So other than wearing all these hats, what else are you up to?
Well, I do a lot of speaking engagements. So that's what I'm gearing up to do this year, is definitely be in front of more faces, and this is fun and all, but the magic really happens when you're in a room
Yeah.
full
Oh
of
yeah.
vibrant
Hmm.
men. When I know that they've taken time out to get dressed, to put their
Yes.
makeup, to use their good gas to see me, then I want them to be able to learn something for me. But it also lets me know that they're serious about, taking the bites that we have to give in order to
Yeah.
transform their life. They're there for a reason. That
Oh yeah.
so
Hmm.
it's a good thing. But other than that, of course, I want to bring on entrepreneurs that is ready to expand their reach, and that's what I focus on my podcast, is that we highlight entrepreneurs that and through their journey, and also highlight others that have amazing testimonies, those
Yes.
that's been through incarceration, sexual assault, a messy divorce, all of those things, are testimonies.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that those are things that happen right before we actually transform our lives to something we thought we could never attain, or differently. It teaches us. It's hard that when we go through things like that, but really it shapes you to be the person that you are today. But you have to go through that, get to the other side to understand that.
Yeah, definitely. That it's almost like it's always a test. I don't really want to say a test, but because people think, oh, you pass the test and then you're done with it. But in life, I heard this quote a long time ago. You're always either heading into a storm, in a storm, or coming out of a storm, and life is
Yes.
always kind of going through that, and you just have to be a person, or can get to the mindset to believe that whatever storm I go through, I can deal with it. God's going to give me the
Right.
strength to be able to get through that. So, but yeah, I love hearing people's story and people's testimony. I get so much inspiration from that, and that's always been a
Yeah.
joy of mine to hear how people have come through difficult times, because Lord knows I've had some, but we
Yeah.
all have. Yep, we all have.
That's we all have a story, and that story is a part of our brand. And that's
Yes.
what I share, that my first book and my ebook tells the hardship that I had as a child in sexual assault, and just going through the different avenues of life because things happened to me so young.
Yes.
But it's
Hmm.
is giving yourself freedom enough to breathe in life,
Mm,
freedom enough to heal, freedom
yeah.
enough to forgive yourself, freedom enough to forgive them, freedom enough for you to actually own what God gave you, which is your purpose.
Mm.
So yes,
It's a lot of work, isn't it? But
it
it's
is.
so worth it, though. It's
It
very much
is.
worth it. Yeah.
You know, I always tell people if I can get somebody younger than me, because I'm 47, so it took me
Nuh-uh.
a little while to get to this point, to healing. So if I can reach those that's younger, honey, oh honey, don't you want to be free? Don't you
Mm-hmm.
want to know what peace feels like?
Oh yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
but you know, you have to go through those changes in life and experience life in order to say, you know what, I don't want that. That doesn't feel good. That's not what
Yeah.
I deserve. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go through it, but you also have to, really believe that, it's something better out there. Sometimes it's hard to believe sometimes when you can't see it, but you got to find a way, because that's going to be the key to getting past some things sometimes is um like I've got some personal goals that I ain't seen nobody I know reach these personal goals that I have. So it's hard to sometimes conceptualize that I can reach this because I ain't seen nobody do it. But you got to believe, you still have to
Right.
believe that you can do it, even though it seems impossible or so unfamiliar to you. So, no,
But see,
I'm right there with you.
God, what God meant for you will be for you. So
Yes.
just because they didn't have it, maybe God didn't mean it for you. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's in store for you unless you actually go out and get it. And so if you obtain it, that meant God meant me to have it. Thank you, God.
Yep. So true. So true. Amen. He's done it before. I know he'll do it again.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So we talking about today, kind of, having your maintaining your identity and your purpose and all of those things that are unique to you and that make you you. Even when you're wearing these other hats, such as a wife, such as a mother. A daughter, we wear all of these hats, but you have to still maintain your identity. And I know a lot of people kind of have the mindset or they think, oh, when you get married, then like this switch flops on and then everything changes. And I
Hey,
haven't been
Q.
married that
So
long, but I'm like, no.
Q. How long have you been married?
I have been married, tomorrow, like 11 months. I just got married less
Oh,
than a year ago. And
okay.
yes,
Okay.
it's
Awesome.
wonderful. It's a beautiful thing. It was a few weeks shy of my 40th birthday, so I was 39 years old, and it was very it was a long time coming. There was times I was like, oh, I probably never get married, and it was times I was like, oh, it was such a journey, but I think sometimes people think, oh, when I get married, then I've crossed the finish line. No, you just starting the race. You are just starting the race at a sense.
Oh, you just switch lanes, my dear. You
You
just
just
switch
switch
lanes.
lanes. Yeah, but and I'm fortunate enough to be able to say that, my partner, my person, he gets me, he's not imposing all these ideations on me like, I'm expecting you to be this or that. But I do know some people, I've seen people that, that's not their experience. Their person kind of has these expectations of them. And it can be difficult, right? It can be
Yeah.
difficult when that happens.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered something like that,
Um, okay, so
or were
I
you the
guess
person imposing the expectations?
I was not, it wasn't gonna work that way with me. I think you when we're considering our mate, yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to put on the table. It's a lot of things that you have to actually, ask yourself. And I'll be honest, I couldn't ask that many questions when I was married and 6 months after meeting this man.
Mm.
And and we've been together for 18 years.
Oh wow!
And I
So
think
wait,
that's why,
you guys, I'm so sorry to cut you off. You guys met and
yeah,
married 6 months later.
yes,
Oh,
I was,
that's
yeah, he
beautiful.
proposed month 5, and we were married month 6.
Oh,
And I
wow.
think it was so important for me to come on because there's so many misconceptions, perceptions when it comes to marriage and the expectation, and you don't have a book. You absolutely
Mm-hmm.
have a book. So, people are impose things because maybe they seen their mom or dad
Yeah.
or their aunts. And I know I've been married before. I shared that, I was married very young and we became best friends. Honey, we could have wrote a co-parenting book. Okay.
Mm.
So it was a success story, but I hadn't seen a lot of that. Some of my friends went through a lot going through their ex-husband or mate when it comes to co-parenting. For me, it was important that I kind of made sure that the person that I was going to be connected to was able to nurture me in a
Mm-hmm.
way. But I had a lot of good examples. We always have examples, and then we have this view of how it's supposed to be in our head,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not who you're marrying. You're not
Yeah.
marrying your uncle. Your marriage is not going to be like your auntie and your auntie or your mama and your daddy. It doesn't work that way. So you may be able to include some of those aspects of their marriage in it, but it doesn't always work out that way. Who you're
Yeah.
marrying is that person. What you have to build is with that person. And if it works for the two of you, I think a lot of people go into it looking at other people, and it's just like, yeah, maybe he can't do the things that another couple is able to
Mm-hmm.
do. So why impose that on
On
him?
them. Yeah.
No, I,
Yeah. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I don't know if you can think of any examples for yourself about, like you said, you have this view of what it was supposed to be. And I know one for me, I guess I always kind of had the view that, the man's gonna do the yard work, right? So and this even happened recently. Like we needed to cut some bushes down out front. And he was like, and they weren't even big bushes. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna hire somebody to come do it. And I'm like, no, no, no. We can do this. I'm going to help you do it, because I don't
yeah,
mind, but you can
yeah.
do this. I'm like, you can get out there and you can get those shears or whatever. You can cut it down. It's only going to take you probably half an hour, if that. And he's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hire somebody. And I was like, you supposed to be
Let
doing
him
that.
hire somebody.
But no,
Let
I
him
let it go.
hire.
I said, you know what? I can't tell him how to get to the solution. I asked for it to be
Yes.
done and he delivered, but I cannot dictate how you get to that solution. So it's
Yeah.
exactly like you said, you have these views, but you can't really impose all of those views on the other person, because what if they did it to you? Then we're gonna
Right.
probably be having an entirely different conversation.
Now
So yeah,
it's yeah. I do believe. I'm old school. I'm a '70s baby, so I do believe in some roles. But
yes.
I love when a man can take something off of a woman.
Oh yeah.
Even not saying that I have to be restricted by what's woman's work. But I mean, it's 2024. A lot of us are working alongside the man. We coming home about the same time. So so
Mm-hmm.
we have to navigate that, but you have to do what's good for your marriage. Have
Yes.
these open conversations. A lot of people are not having communication, and that's what's tearing them up. I love cooking. I don't
Mm.
want you to come in my kitchen.
Yeah.
It is,
We can be territorial
you know.
about some things. Yes.
Oh, territorial, honey. I want a good meal. You ain't messing up my food. Stay out of my kitchen. I cook. But
Yeah,
if
I
you
found that happening to me too. I'm like, no, he didn't use my ingredients. I know I asked him to cook, but you wasn't supposed to use that stuff. Like, Jesus.
but occasionally, we put more on ourselves. And if they're
Yeah.
willing to help you, take the help.
Take the help.
They want to feel good about helping out. They want to feel good about stepping in and taking something off of your plate as well. You know, so it's a give and take. So yeah.
No, I agree.
I
It's
You can
definitely
keep
a give and
the
take.
yard work. No, you can keep the yard work. I'll hire somebody, and that's not going it's not gonna happen much. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and like I say, I get it. I honestly don't know where that idea came from for me, but at the same time, I was
oh, but
like,
you know what? I tell a fib. I have a whole garden. I have a whole jungle in my house.
"Oh
Okay. I
wow,
got 30 something plants. I have a garden. So I'm outside. But as far as cutting grass, I got enough to do with the
yeah,
garden. So I'm not
I
going,
wouldn't
I'm
do
not
no good." Yeah,
no bushes or nothing. So
no, I wouldn't cut any grass. My allergies wouldn't let me cut grass anyway. But like, I always think that projects you can do it like really easy, but I'm the person that I'm like, oh yeah, we can do this, I can do that. But once I start doing, I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I don't bit off more than I can chew. So I'm actually really
Right.
glad that he just paid somebody and got it over with. But like I said, I went into it a little overzealous. Like, no, you can do it. You can do
We
it.
can do it. We can do
I wasn't gonna do
it.
much. I was just kind of hype him up. Like I was gonna stand there and hold the
Oh,
supplies. That's what I was
absolutely
gonna
not.
do.
I'm glad he called
He
whoever
didn't
he
take
needs to
the
call.
bait.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's been wild these last couple of months. It's been definitely a learning experience, and I know that you said you about was it 18 years in? You guys,
18. It has, whew, we hold on to those years. And I do. You get proud of the years, but
mm,
it is, you have hard times. A lot of
yeah,
people, it's so funny because I hear a lot of couples and they had just got married. They may have maybe 3 or 5 years in, and that's good. But you have to be able to weather the storm. You have to be able to also realize that you guys are going to change over time. And what does that look
mm,
like? You're going to adjust. I always say that a lot of people get into marriage and they're not healed. That was my
mm,
issue. I was not healed in a lot of ways, so there was a lot of correction to do on my part. I always tell people, don't have expectations going in. You have to work with your husband. You have to be able to mold each other to growing together and not growing apart. So
mm.
it is ever changing.
Yeah.
Because
I tend to. Oh no, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
the person you are at year 3 is definitely different than who you are at year 20. God's,
Mhm.
gracious to God if you make it that
Yeah.
long.
Oh yeah. Because I
That
look at my
trust
parents
will
and I'm
happen.
like, I don't know how they made it, but I'm so glad they did when I look at my parents.
Yeah, and
Yes,
every
Lord.
every marriage is different. Everybody goes through different things, and what you can deal with, somebody else couldn't deal with. But it's your
Mm,
marriage. That is, that's not an open subject for everybody to comment on.
yeah.
It's what's right for you, and that's being honest. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes I'll never forget Michelle said there was about a good 10 years that I couldn't stand this man, Michelle Obama.
Mhm.
She says, I can stand this act. And it's true. Sometimes you do look over and be like, I don't like you so much right now. But you have to stay in it in order to get to the other side of that uncomfortableness. You have to have open communication, and you actually have to be responsive to, what have I done? I shouldn't say what have I done. What have I not done as far as my healing? Sometimes, you do have to go to a counselor. There is nothing wrong with going to a counselor, not just
Mm.
couples counseling, but counseling for yourself. A lot
Individual
of us are
counseling.
dealing with a lot of people bring in their own baggage and then expect people to fix it. You know,
Yeah.
no one can make you happy. That just because you're married, he is not responsible for your happiness.
That's so true. You know, nobody is responsible for your happiness. You know, you shouldn't ever be putting that pressure, that responsibility on somebody else, because in the same token, if that person can make you happy, that also means they can make you unhappy. You know, it's two sides to that coin. But I would also say, I do think, you know, the buzzword today in 2024, 2023 is healing and trauma and this and that, and which is very much a real thing. I'm so glad that our generation and the time that we're living in, there's a lot of awareness to it. But I think also society, we're kind of putting a lot of pressure on people about healing. And, oh, you can't go into a relationship if you're not healed. I look at healing as something that you treat. It may not ever be cured. And when I say you treat it versus being cured, is those symptoms sometimes, depending on what the trauma is, they can always come up, right? Something can trigger you and those symptoms can come up again. But you have to know how to treat that when it comes up. You're never going to completely 100% eradicate it. So when you expect people to come to a situation completely healed, I think that's unrealistic in some cases. Now, the dividing thing for me is the awareness. Look, I know I've got a problem in this area. I know that if XYZ happens, I'm probably going to be a little triggered. That's a different story. We can work with that. But if you don't think it's nothing wrong, then yeah, you got some work you need to do before, you know, you come into this situation, in my opinion.
A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know that they need healing.
Yes.
Until it happens, you know. So that's a process that they have to go through, self-discovery.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, and a lot of people end up in relationships trying to escape something or another. I always say people try to get under people, places, and things in order for them to feel better, and then they end up in a relationship, and that makes them happy, and it makes them feel more alive. But that's a temporary feeling.
It's a temporary feeling. Yep.
Yeah. What happens when you actually have to do the work, when it's hard times, when it's financial situation, when there's things going on with the kids, you know, when your goals and his wants are differing, you know, how are you going to handle that? So it's a deep, I would hope that everybody's doing a deep scrub.
Yeah, deep scrub. Like, come on, give me something to work with. Do a deep scrub. I like that. I like that term. Do a deep scrub, you know. Y'all heard it here first from LaSha. Before you get into a relationship, do a deep scrub.
I want to help somebody tonight. Do a deep scrub.
But all jokes aside, what does that look like? Like, what could that look like for someone who, you know, let's say, you know, because it's going to look different in every situation. I'm thinking, say, if somebody had a problem managing their finances and you say, okay, you got to do a deep scrub. That means you're going to have to get down to the nitty gritty and you're going to have to start writing every dollar that you spend. You know, when you say deep scrub, that's what I tend to think in a situation like that. But do you have any other examples that you might consider a deep scrub?
Well, you know what? I wish I was a marriage coach, but since I'm winging it on a prayer and a hope myself, going on ice, and we've had, you know, issues. What I can do when I say a deep scrub, what I'm talking about is being honest with who you are, being honest with who you are, what you've been through, what your wants are, who he is, not who you want him to be. Who he is right now.
Who is he right now? Yes.
Right. I get into this thing where I think people are marrying what they call potential.
Oh,
Then they get into marriage and then, oh my geez. I always tell people who you're marrying today, if you didn't change at all and it's 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road, is that enough for you? I don't know if do I need to say this again? If you're dating someone and if he's going to remain the same for the next decade or two, are you still willing to stay in it? If your answer is no, then you shouldn't be getting married.
Yeah. Nope.
And
I've
it's
always said
reality.
the same too. Like, you, not what they could be, what they are right now. And at the same token, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said. Make sure that person is also accepting you for who you are right now,
You are.
and they aren't signing up and dealing with you with the expectation that you are going to do and have more. You're going to be different. Oh, if you are, kind of going back to the yard example, if that was something big for me and I was like, oh no, he'll start doing it. No, he not gonna do that. He probably won't. And vice versa. I like cooking, but it comes in spurts. It comes in spurts. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to cook, and I'll cook so many days straight. And then I might not cook again for a week. If he was a person who wanted someone that would cook every day, I probably wouldn't be the person for you, because I'm probably never going to cook every day. I would try. I would go into it like, okay, it's not going to last though, because I can't cook
Yeah.
every day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Lord have mercy.
I mean, marriage is a wonderful thing. I just
Yeah.
see a lot of people marrying for the wrong reasons. And I see a lot of people jumping ship a little bit too fast as well.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Because I agree.
Sure.
So I'll tell you what I think about jumping ship. I do think that there are times where, you can bow out. But I do also feel like, and are you still there? I'm going to wait for a second in case our picture pops back up. Let's just give LaSha a minute or two. She will be back. I know she will. Okay, we lost her. So I'm just gonna hang out here for a minute, in case LaSha logs back in. So right now we were just kind of talking about people jumping ship too quickly. So I definitely really wanted to engage in that part of the conversation with her, because LaSha's been married for 18 years. So she will have some good insight on that. She brought that topic up. Let me take a look and see if we got any questions or any comments. Nope, no questions or comments right now. Okay. Good Lord. It is Friday night. I'm actually getting sleepy a little bit, but it's all good. It's all good. Okay, I think LaSha is back. Okay. She's back.
Sorry about that. I don't know why it kicked me off.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry.
I'm here.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, we were just talking about jumping ship too soon. So
Right. And it said we know. I guess that was a little sign on me talking about people breaking up.
I don't think so at all, but
Let's switch the subject. But no, in all transparency, I left. I left for 8 months.
You did?
I did. Yeah, I
Mm.
did.
Are you
I did.
comfortable with talking about it a little bit?
I am. I'm okay. I share my truth. It is what it is. However, things do happen. A lot of
Yeah.
people, end up separating and kind of working on themselves and then come back
Mm.
together. I will say that it wasn't anything on his part.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot. I was
You've been,
molested
yeah.
from 2 to 12. I had
Mm.
6 predators by the age of 14. This is my
Oh.
second marriage. I went through a whole bunch of stuff, before I even met him. This was his first marriage. There was a lot of things that he built in me as well, but I think I came to him very damaged, and that's just
Mm.
honest. That's owning my shit. If you can't own your shit, you'll never get better. You can't help anyone out there, and there's someone out there that feels as if they got married and they're not. The puzzles aren't all together. They're feeling
Yes.
like they're that like something is wrong. And I got married, in 6 months, so there was
You
a
were still
lot of
learning
things
each other
we
at that
we
time
we
frame.
were. However,
Yeah.
he's an amazing man.
Mm.
He's an amazing father. There was a lot of things in me that I just kind of ignored, and the compatibility and things like that. It was, some things for me to think about. He is a very, you can be in relationship, be married to your very best friend, and still feel as if you're an island apart.
Mhm. Yeah. You you
You
you
can.
can. And
And
I'm not saying that this was your experience, that this is your thing, but I do think it comes back to, you know, you your responsibility to make sure you're fulfilled and your cup is filled is on you.
Mhm.
It's always your number one priority. I think I said it last week. Probably I said it sometimes recently, but every time I get on an airplane, I kind of think about it because you know what they say, when the flight attendant is giving you the rundown, they say, okay, if we lose whatever,
Altitude. Uh-huh.
lose
Uh-huh.
altitude and the oxygen mask come out, put yours on first before you try to put somebody else's on. And when
Exactly.
I was a mom, especially a single mom, I'm like, I'm not doing that. If this stuff start going down, I'm taking care of my like I'm trying to get the
Right.
kids straight first. But
Uh-huh.
I get it now. Like you really have to put your shit on first before you try to, because then if you don't take care of you, you're not gonna have it to take care of anybody else. So it
Right.
really started to make sense. And and that's why I thought it was important that we have this discussion today, because that self-care piece, and I know we look at self-care like, oh, let me go get my nails done or my hair done, let me go get a massage. It's that, but it's also so much more, because you have to take care of you first so you can take care of everybody else. I know you want to take care of your husband and whoever else you love, but you can't do that if you're not taken care of. And
Got
it sounds
together.
like you took some time to make sure those things were addressed and addressed appropriately. And I think sometimes when we don't take care of it, we not just we can't take care of the other person, but we do damage on them too, right? Would you agree with
Mhm.
that?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. The spillage. The the spillage.
The village. Yes.
Yes. But it's not a book in this. You're learning and growing. He's learning and growing. And usually when something doesn't work, it doesn't work on just one side.
Yes.
There's an equation that's there as well. And so when things happen, when things are get kind of rocky, you have to come together and actually express, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. I'm not liking this. And
Mm,
then you have expectation for people to change said X, Y, and Z. How are you going to
mm,
show up for me? And that's a requirement in a marriage. I know, keeping yourself up. Oh my God, keeping
mm.
yourself up. and it's so easy to fall into this lazy mode, to get
Oh yeah.
comfortable. And it's like,
Guilty.
no, you can't,
Oh no.
you got to keep the spice. You
Well,
have to
and
keep
I'm glad I'm so glad you touch on that because, not to tell my own business, but I'll be the first to admit, you know, I don't always prioritize that. In my 9 to 5, I work at home and I'm a supervisor. So I don't just work 8 hours a day sometimes.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And, for me, what I do for me is enough. But I have to be mindful that it's not just for me anymore.
Oh,
Um, this brother don't want to
hey,
see this big old pink bonnet every day.
no, you should be the you should you have to make sure that you're the candy.
I like
You're
it.
the prize. You
Yeah.
have to make sure that you're bringing it. That means, I know men say you don't need the lingerie, and really a lot of men be like, you really don't, but you have to make effort in some ways.
Effort.
Um,
Mhm.
and that should not stop. It should
Mm.
not stop. You have to make effort. You have to keep yourself up. You have to make sure that your hygiene is good, that you're switching up. You come home and one day you're Tamika, the next day you're Susan. I mean, switch it up. I
Switch
got
it
like
up.
50 million wigs. You don't know when I'm coming. Uh,
I wanted to ask you about that, not wigs, but I love it. She said, "You got one day you got to be Tamika." Now you got me thinking, who is my alter ego? Yes, I need an alter ego. But no, in all seriousness, my question for you is, LaSha. So say for instance, you like long, flowy, curly hair, but your husband, he likes short hair. Like, what's your medium? Like, what's your advice or to somebody, to keep you, but to also give that person what they like? Just keep switching it up or
is he treating you good?
mm,
Is he giving you gifts every now and then? That's nice. He gives you
mm.
that sweet, fuzzy feeling. You think about him at work and be like, "Oh, I can't wait till he get home." Put on that short hair.
Put on that short hair.
The heck? How short you want it?
How short you want it? Yeah. We're gonna go
But it
short
goes
and
both
black.
ways.
It
It
goes
goes
both
both ways. A
ways.
lot of
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm hearing women. It's not on the women's end. Having all these discussions all over the place about men not getting it. Oh my God. I'm speaking to more women that are married 15 years plus saying, I'm not getting it.
Mm.
And so, things are changing. The narrative is changing, especially when, you've been married for a little while. Sometimes it takes effort on both ends.
On both ends. Yep.
You're not going to be inspired to give him what he wants if he's not giving you what you want.
Yeah. And I think that's an important part of the conversation too. And if any men are listening, I just want to say I don't think for most of us women, it doesn't take much. You just got to hit those right buttons or whatever. And, and maybe it works both ways, but people feed off of the compliments and the feedback. There was once a quote, and I think we used to talk about this in corporate America a lot, but people rise to the level of expectation that you kind of impose on them. So when you like, if your thing is flowers, and maybe your husband don't buy you flowers all the time, but when that one time he does it, you make a big deal out of, oh my gosh, these are the most beautiful flowers, I love these flowers. He gonna see the appreciation he got when you gave him that feedback, and he should keep doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
every time he keep doing it, you keep giving that feedback so that he can continue to give it. Then you getting what you want. You love flowers. You showing him how much you love flowers. Don't be meek about it. I'm like, oh, thank you for the flower. No, make a big deal out of it. Make a
Mm-hmm.
whole thing out of it. So, you like you say, you have to be able to, you have to be able to make sure it goes both ways. That feedback and that initiation, and that's very important if you ask me.
Yeah,
I'm on my
it
soapbox
is.
about it.
Yeah, it is. And it takes effort over time. It takes a little bit more effort. People get comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
They get comfortable. You can feel stale, and that's when you have to take a away trip. That's when you have to send the kids over to somebody else's house. That's when you got to break out the heels and do something different. That's when you have to start dating. You never stop dating yourself. When you stop each other, when you stop doing that, then there's trouble. Not Now, mind you, doesn't mean that you have to go out to fancy, expensive places. It's just the time together.
The time
The
together.
time
Yeah.
together is important, in order for you to stay in a healthy connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
I agree.
Yeah,
LaSha, I want to kind of
yeah.
circle back because you made a comment that, sometimes people can think other people maybe get married too quickly. We actually got married right at the 2 year mark. You got married at the 6 month mark. But my point in saying that was I think some people think we got married kind of quick. But somebody just left a
Oh
comment
no,
for us. I'm like, no, I was 39 years old. We both know what we wanted. It wasn't too quick. And even if you think it was too quick, it's none of your business. But anyway, some
exactly. A man knows there is not a time where you should be in a 5-year relationship and this man has not mentioned marriage. That's a
mhm,
red flag.
red
It is a
flag.
red. Men
Drop red
know.
flags in the comment. Exactly.
They're
I
right.
agree.
Right.
Drop
A
those
lot of
flags if you hear it because I agree.
It is so true. And a lot of times, a lot of people are dating, and it's like, well, he's not ready. And it's okay for them to not be ready. You don't want to
Uh-huh.
give people ultimatums. Oh, you definitely
You
don't.
don't, but you can
But
bow out.
know when your exit needs
Hmm.
to happen. Know when, you know what, I've invested too much time, and walk away if you have to, you know and that may be a risk, but it's already a risk if you go
It's
additional
already a
three
risk.
years and nothing happens, and you guys leave, and he decides to leave. A man knows. And I say this all the time. There's two situations where I've known where someone has dated 9-10 years, they broke up, and then he was married in less than a year.
We know so many people like that. Like not so many people, but we've heard that story so many times. And you know, it's like somebody put in the comments. They said sometimes you can wait too long as well, and I agree. When I was in my mid 30s, the prior relationship I was in, you know, we talked about it, but it never happened. It was never the other person wanted to move forward with it, and I said, well, clearly they not ready, so it's a wrap. It was
Right.
a very difficult thing to do, but it's a wrap. And
Right.
thank God that decision was made because my partner now, my husband now, like you said, he knew. He already knew. Like it didn't take him that long. So thankfully the cards aligned because I'm like, if I would have met him way back then, then I would have. But it doesn't take all of that. And if you're okay with waiting because you just genuinely aren't ready yourself or something, that's a different story. But the problem is when you are ready and the other person isn't, then there's a
Right.
disconnect there. So yeah, it
Mhm.
should never be in my opinion, a situation that you're ready, but the other person hasn't. It's been 5 years. Good grief.
It's amazing. Another thing that I'm finding shocking is that actually people are dating these people and considering marriage, and they brought it up, but they haven't talked about critical things like finances, critical
Mm,
things like your financial score. Some I know two individuals that haven't really met all of the family, hadn't met the mama.
mm,
Y'all talk about marriage, like for real? Like I mean, there's some critical things that people are missing, in the discussion. How are they when it comes to raising kids? What are
Yeah.
your oh, my deal breaker was, honey, if you didn't believe in God, if we were, the same spirituality, it was a deal breaker for me. It wasn't even, you wouldn't even get a second date if I found that out. It was just a deal breaker for me, so, and a lot of people are really dating and courting people way too long when they know full well they have deal breakers, you know
Mm-hmm.
um you're dating, he feeling good, but
Yeah.
you're really not taking in account of what you truly want. You're
What you
settling for
truly
right
want.
now.
Yeah. I
For
think
right.
that people don't put enough, they put a lot of talk behind their desires in terms of these are my requirements, I'm just going to use tall, dark, and handsome because that's what a lot of people tend to gravitate to. But say if that's your thing, I like tall, dark, and handsome or whatever. That's what they're looking for. And I think it's okay to think like that, but you should also the greater weight should go on character, right? And character is, it's something that you can say, I want somebody that's God fearing, I want somebody that's honest, but the way you truly find that out is through the vetting process. That's a
Yeah.
quiet thing. When you vet somebody, it's quiet because you're observing them through their actions, through their responses, and you vet that person for a little bit. And if they have what you want, then great, but if not, then you should know that this isn't probably going to work. But I think we as women, sometimes we need to put more effort into the vetting process in terms of those character, I don't want to call them character flaws, but look for
Oh,
those
they
character
flaws. They
things
red
that
flags all. They red
see that
flags
all that
all over.
flaws are.
We just gonna wash the red flags away until it hope and pray that they turn a little bit lighter, because we not we don't want to let them go. We see the red flags and make every excuse under the sun for them.
Oh, yes, we do. Why do we do that? Why do you think we do that?
Because a lot of people that are in fear of being alone, or they've
Mm,
invested a lot of time, and that happens a lot when you've been
yeah.
with somebody for a certain amount of time. You think, I'm gonna give it a try, and I'm gonna give it a try, and I'm gonna give it a chance, and I'm gonna take them back, and I'm gonna keep trying until you wasted all this time. You know,
Yeah,
so it's unfortunate, but it's a reality. It's a
it
reality.
is.
I can change them.
No, you can't.
I can
You gonna
change.
change you. What's gonna happen? You gonna end up changing you. You gonna change yourself in that process. So you got to be really careful with that. And if these were things, if I had to do certain things over when I was 20, or 25 or something, I'm not a person that said, "Oh, I regret this," and this and that. But I definitely would have, had a different set of eyes or a different set of awareness, than back then. But yeah, you're gonna end up changing yourself if you go into any situation thinking that you're gonna change that person. And for me, I think it just kind of circles back to the importance of get to know you, really get to know who you are. I think sometimes you don't know certain things about yourself until you went through certain experiences. So,
Mm-hmm.
not saying I want to say this. I think most women have been through a situation when their dude hadn't come home or something. You probably don't know that they will bother you in this way until it actually happens, right? So you're on mute. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Sometimes you have to go through certain things to know, you know what, I don't like this don't feel too good.
Right. I'm sorry.
No, that's
I
fine.
I was on unmute. I'm trying to plug up.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, that is true. So it's just kind of navigating it all. It's a lot. It's a lot,
It's a
but it's
lot.
so worth it.
It's so worth it. Yep. This is
Yeah,
coming
it
from somebody
is. It
who's
is.
18 years in. So if she says it's worth it, yeah, we believe her. We believe, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it's you have to, and a lot of people. Let's hit on this thing. We we down people for leaving, and people leave for different reasons, and
Hmm.
that's true. You try and you try. If you happen to make a decision to leave, don't beat yourself up for it. Life is
Mm.
life. It's a lesson, and that you owe yourself the ability to live a happy, peaceful life. There is there's people don't leave because they happy.
Yeah.
People leave because there's something missing, that they're miserable, that something isn't
Hmm.
connecting. And if you've done everything, if you've done everything and you've been honest with yourself, then and you've making that decision, sometimes you do more harm to the kids when you stay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um and that's not
What would you
fair.
tell the person who is hesitating because they feel like if they leave, then it's a failure? They failed.
Yeah. Um you have to, sometimes it's hard to be selfish.
Mm.
Sometimes it is hard to be selfish. And if you're leaving for the right reasons, not for somebody else, if you're leaving for the right reasons, then you're not, that's never selfish. Making me happy isn't bringing me peace isn't selfish. And you should never feel like you're ashamed of that. I know when I went through
Mhm.
my first divorce, I was like, I felt shameful because I was
Yeah.
going through this divorce. And I was like, you get over it,
Mhm.
essentially. But in the beginning, you do feel like I felt at something. I felt at something else. Well, a lot of people will find that if they leave a situation, they're breathing for the first time in a while.
Mm.
They
Mm.
reclaim their life. That you feel like the load is off of your shoulder. You begin to lose weight and look better
Mm.
and all this stuff. If it brings you peace, there can never be any shame behind that.
Any
You
shame.
know,
Yeah,
of
I
course, I'm not an
agree.
advocate for anyone leaving. However, if it means that you're going to live more in your truth, if it means that you're not going to be miserable, if it means that you reclaim parts of your life that you thought you were going to lose forever, or you're not living fully with the person that you said I do to, then you have to make the hard decisions.
You have to make them. Yeah. I do
Yeah.
agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I want to play devil's advocate for a moment. I don't really like that term, but so
Okay.
what would you say to the person, Lachey, who hears what you just said and they take that to mean that anytime problems come up, oh no, I deserve to be happy. What would you say
Mm-mm.
to that person?
No, and that goes back to, I see a lot of people jumping ship a little bit too
Mm,
fast. There's
mhm,
people in
mhm.
3-year relationships, like 3 years, you got to get to 7 before you actually feel some hut. Um, no, that's not. You have to do the work. You have to do the
You have
work,
to
and
do the
and
work.
if you're doing but the work that you do has to be met by that other person doing work
The
too. It's not all. If you're on the only one that's giving, then that's not a relationship. That's not
yeah.
a marriage. If you're the only one that's trying to mend some things, then you don't have a partner. You don't have a partner that
Mhm.
really wants to stay with you. That's different. So no, and sometimes when we start working on ourselves, And it's the same with motivation. When we start, you see your partner lacking motivation and they're not doing X, Y, and Z. Whenever you start getting yourself together, focusing on you and not having requirements and nagging him about his motivation, leave him alone. You nagging him ain't gonna make him move any faster. Focus on you. And either they gonna ride the ship or the ship gonna dock somewhere. So sometimes you have to worry about you and your
Worry about
process.
you.
Yeah. You know, when you've done everything else, that's what you have to do. When that person will say, well, dang, she doing X, Y, and Z. And sometimes they step up. Men, they walk to their own tune. Just because you want him to excel and make more money and switch a job doesn't mean that he's going to be on the same motivation level as you. It don't happen that way. You're gonna be fussing forever. You knew he worked at UPS this whole time. Yeah, and now you want him to be in the boardroom. It don't happen.
It don't work like that.
It don't happen that way.
Not overnight. Not overnight.
It's no. But a lot of people are not having these open conversations, and that's real. And thinking about the long term, can he provide if something happens? Can he provide 100% if you get sick? You know, can he step up? Can you go on his health? I know a lot of people that don't have, they're the one that's carrying the health care. So if something happened to me, you can't be on his health care. I think there's a major problem in a lot of ways that you're not complimenting each other when it comes to marriage.
Yeah. And I don't think that it's always a lot of conversation around, you know, how you compliment each other, you know, because most of the conversation sometimes seems to be around what's this person bringing to the table. And that's fine. You know, that's very important. But you also need to be looking at, like, you know, how can you guys compliment each other based on your unique attributes, your unique packages. It's a lot to go into it, but you know, you just got to shift your mindset sometimes in terms of how you're looking at things. LaSha, what advice do you have to, you know, any woman out there who is trying to get their mind set from single to married, like to start, you know, thinking in terms of when I'm in this relationship, it's not just all my wants and needs anymore. It's about us meeting each other. What's your advice to that person?
It's not being okay. So for me, it was So I'll own it. For me, it was hard to allow someone in my space. It was, you know, I wanted to control everything. A lot of people don't know when to pick their battles. When you just gotta walk away. You have to understand that it's not an I. You don't get everything you want. You may act spoiled, but you're not going to win every situation. So you have to realize that going into something means that you give part of yourself up as well. A lot of people find it hard in even dating, and may not work out for one reason or another, but their heart is already filled. So you haven't made space for this other man to come, this man to come in your life. You have to make room for love. A lot of us don't make room for love in that way. And that means respecting him, talking to him, you know, respectfully. It's going out your way sometimes, doing some things that you don't feel like doing, you know, going the extra mile. You know, those are things that you have to consider. You know, that you don't have this me attitude. And that's what I see.
That's what you see
nowadays.
Well, I can't comment because I know I say there's no I in team, but there's sure is a me in team. I'm no, I'm only kidding. But I love what you said. You have to make room for love. Like I never really thought about it in those terms, but you got to start making room for it, right? I love that.
You do. You do. I mean, it's your that's supposed to be your soulmate.
Mm,
If that's the person that you're trusting, you're loving, that you have said I do to, then you have to do the work. You have to make sure that you guys are having discussions and talking and um making sure that you're doing your full effort, as well. And it's hard. Everybody is different. I could tell you all of these good things, but who you marry, I don't know. So
true.
you have to be honest. Who did you marry? Was
All
he
that.
like this in the beginning? Was he like this during dating? Then you gonna expect him to
Mm,
change what he said I do? Absolutely not. Negatory. You just set yourself up for the biggest okey doke in the world. Who did you marry? If he expected that warm meal and he had all of these ideals about your role and what you should do, and you
mm,
was keeping up with that, then you can't stop.
yeah.
Just you said I do.
No, ma'am,
those are
ma'am. Nope.
those are things that you have to think about. But being single, as a woman, that means that you have to incorporate you have to allow him to incorporate his life. You got to mesh together.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
important.
got to mesh.
Good
I think that.
conversation.
Oh my goodness, it is. I'm over here thinking, and I'm like, Jesus, that is some really good tips, some really good gems that you dropped. I hope someone hears it and hears that we were speaking from the heart, and we want all of our sisters out there to have what your heart desires. If your heart desires marriage, if your heart desires family, or whatever it is, I want that for you, right? But sometimes you got to do the work too before you can get to it. That's all we're
Right.
saying. You try to do the work so you be the best possible person if and when that happens. But no, I love it. LaSha, tell people how they can reach you if they got any questions, because y'all, she been married for 18 years. Go to her first. Don't come
Oh
over
no,
here. You
don't
can
go to
ask
me
me
first.
other
Go
stuff
to me.
about.
Go to your pastor. Go
Go
to
to your.
your counselor. Don't be all up in my inbox about no marriage. I can't help you. I am holding on with glue and tape. Okay. So no, I'm not.
You're
I
so
can
funny.
only lend my advice. But you
Yeah.
can always look me up. I know a lot of you guys that may be listening, viewing this, have a business and you want to expand your reach. Of course, I can have you on Hello Audacity podcast on all major outlets: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. And also you can tune in for Rag Talk Nation, which is airing on next Sunday, I believe. It's going to be fun, fun, fun. So yes, for the Dream Big Vision pillow. I did not pop in the link for this, but I will pop in the link so that you can prioritize your life in 2024, because we are not doing the same thing we did in 2023. I'm not going to let you do that. So you need to jump in a class so that you can get your Dream Big Vision pillow. And you can also reach me at LaSha Marie, that's LaSha Marie Speaks on Facebook.
Okay. Yep. And I know
Yes.
for a fact you're definitely active on Facebook. I think I not think, but I did check out your Instagram. You active over there, but I tend to feel like you most active on Facebook. So reach out to LaSha on
My
Facebook.
coach is, yeah, my coach is on me this year. She's like, oh no, ma'am. So yes, it's about the switch, and that's what's needed. So I'll be more present on
On
Instagram, most
Instagram.
definitely.
Yeah.
But
But
yes,
either way, yeah.
I got my real estate all over the place, so it doesn't matter. It don't change.
It don't change.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I'm gonna let LaSha get back to her other things, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this live. Thank you guys, the ones who tuned in. Thank you for tuning in to the live podcast tonight. And if you so happen to see this at a later time, drop comments if you have any questions or comments. Reach out to myself or LaSha. We here for you. But that's it for now. You guys have a good evening, and thank you for joining us, LaSha.
Oh, of course. Yes, I'll be back, honey. We got more discussions to have.
I can't wait because, we got some more stuff to talk about. But until next time, you guys have a good evening.